Hey, what's going on, guys? Marvin here. Welcome back to another video. So recently I've been getting a lot of messages asking me these questions that I answered like years ago. Like I made videos on every single one of these topics a few years ago. I wanted to clear them up for you guys because there's a lot of unknowns when it comes to Amazon wholesale, and it just depends on what you're going to hear first. So if you hear wrong information first, it might be the deciding factor of whether you go into the wholesale business model or you completely stay away from it. There's a few different things that are just not true in this business model, and I can tell you that from firsthand experience and from helping over 600 people start and grow a successful Amazon wholesale business. The first lie or the first misconception that people think is true is that you need a lot of money to start this business, and that's just absolutely not the case. I started this business with $2,000. The more capital you have, the better it will be, the faster you'll be able to scale. But I've had clients start with $500. Now, the reason people say that you need so much money to start this business is because they think that suppliers have these ridiculous MOQs, minimum order quantities, that you have to meet or they're not going to sell to you. There is going to be some suppliers that have some ridiculous amount of MOQs, but for the most part, that is not the case whatsoever. Again, I started with $2,000. And that first really golden supplier that was super profitable had no MOQ whatsoever. But because it was in a different niche that nobody was really looking into, I was able to pretty much just continue to buy inventory, I think for like a year straight before some real competition showed up and then the prices started going down. But that minimum order quantity was not an issue because there wasn't one. There are so many suppliers that I've contacted that they either have no minimum order quantity, they have maybe 250 to 500 minimum order quantity, 1,000, 2,000, but that's just not really an issue. And even with those minimum order quantities, sometimes if you really just communicate with your supplier, say, hey, I can't hit this mark, but I'm able to buy this amount and it's pretty close. Sometimes they'll still work with you even if you don't meet their minimum order quantity. You just have to ask. But so many people are just afraid of asking those questions. And a lot of times they'll work with you. Sometimes you're going to get that supplier who's going to say no. But a lot of times you'll get the supplier that says, yeah, we'll work with you. And then we'll start building that relationship from there. But when I first started selling on Amazon and I was trying to do private label, and the reason I didn't start going into wholesale is because I thought I needed so much money to get started, which just wasn't the case. A great starting point is $2,000 because that's what I started with. If you have more, you'll scale faster. Obviously, it's easier for you because you have more. If you have less, it can still be done. You're going to just scale at a slower rate. But what you should always be doing is putting some money back into your Amazon business. You should really be looking at your Amazon business as your investment platform. A lot of people use investments in different ways, right? Some people invest in crypto, some people invest into real estate, some people invest into collectibles like trading cards or whatever it may be. You should look at Amazon as your investment platform. So every month, start putting a little bit of money back into your Amazon business to add into the already existing capital that you have so you can grow it at a faster rate. Even if you were just to grow your money by 10% a month, but where else are you putting your money that you're going to be able to get a 10% net profit every single month over the course of the year, over the course of multiple years? There's not many places that you can do that. So start with whatever capital that you have and then constantly be adding more in every single month so that you can grow that faster and faster over time. All right, so now the second one that we're going to be talking about is that you absolutely need a warehouse, a storefront, or a prep center to get started with Amazon wholesale. And this is absolutely not the case whatsoever. My first year, I didn't even have a prep center. I didn't prep any of the products myself. I didn't even look at the products myself. I think other than maybe the first 2 shipments, I didn't look at any single product because I was using Amazon's prep services. So how this process works is that I would contact my supplier, I'd place an order with them. As I placed the order with them, I would go to Seller Central and I would create a shipping plan. Once I got the shipping labels downloaded, I would send them to my supplier via email, and then they would put it on all the boxes and they would send it to Amazon. Once it got to Amazon, if there was additional prep that was needed or labeling of the products, I would have them do it for a fee. So essentially when you do things this way, Amazon is your prep center. So you don't have to go and find an additional prep center because Amazon is willing to do it for you. As long as your supplier is willing to ship directly to Amazon, then you're not gonna have any issues. And a lot of times the suppliers don't wanna do that because they have to meet certain box requirements, which makes it a little bit more work for them. But there's a lot of times my suppliers said, no, we're not going to ship directly to Amazon because of whatever the reason is. You just talk to them, or you tell them, all right, well, if I send you a UPS label, can you send it to Amazon? And they say yes, and you go and create the same exact thing because you're getting a UPS label anyway, and they're going to go put it on the box and they're going to send it off to Amazon. So it doesn't matter if you're working from your house, if you're working from an apartment, if you're working from your office at work, and you're just kind of doing this on the side. It doesn't matter. You can still do it without a warehouse, without a storefront, without a prep center, and you'll be just fine. Does a prep center help? Yeah, there's going to be suppliers that just absolutely don't want to deal with Amazon. You're going to need to have a prep center. But you can cross that bridge when you come to it. A lot of these things that we deal with Amazon, like a lot of the unknowns about Amazon, you can just cross those bridges when you come to them. You don't need to have all of the answers right now for you to get started. And a lot of people that think that they need to have all of the answers right now usually take a lot longer to get up and going because they're just paralyzed by all of the over analysis that they're doing. You can always figure things out as you go. If you run into a supplier that says, no, we're not going to deal with Amazon, and you need to have a prep center, okay, have a prep center. You can even have a prep center ready to go, even if you're brand new. And after the first couple of shipments, if it's just not working out with that prep center and they're not great, then you just move on and find another one. It's not very difficult to do. When it becomes difficult is when you overthink every single step and then you take zero action. You can absolutely do this from anywhere in the world, from any place, with or without a prep center, with or without a warehouse. Does a warehouse help? Absolutely. Does a prep center help? Absolutely. But if you're just getting started, that should not be a reason for you to not go out and start contacting suppliers and finding products. Now, the last one I'm going to share with you is that less and less suppliers want to work with Amazon sellers, or suppliers just don't want to work with Amazon sellers whatsoever. There are going to be suppliers that don't want to work with you, but is it the majority of them? I would say no. And a lot of times those suppliers that tell you no, they don't want to work with you, there's a lot of different ways that you can turn that no into a yes, which I cover in my course actually. Like super extensive lessons about all of the value that you can bring to a supplier that will help them change their mind from saying no to yes. But it's all about the value that you bring. A lot of times these suppliers will say, no, we don't work with Amazon sellers. And everybody will just say, okay, bye, and then just write them off, never contact them again, don't follow up, don't give them any sort of value pitches or anything that they could potentially separate themselves from this crowd of Amazon sellers that they think in their mind, like, we don't want to work with these type of sellers. But you're not doing anything to separate yourself from the crowd to make it attractive and appealing to be like, yeah, we should probably work with him. He could probably help our business out. Yes, there's some suppliers that won't want to work with you. There have always been suppliers that don't want to work with Amazon sellers. There's some that you can change their mind. There's some that you can't. And there's so many, an abundance of suppliers that are more than willing to work with you because they just want to move inventory. So don't let anything that we talked about today stop you from actually getting your business going, because these are absolutely not the case. Yeah, you're not going to go and start with $500 and make $1 million your first year. Yeah, there's going to be some suppliers that say they don't want to ship to Amazon. Okay, now we need a prep center. But you absolutely don't need a warehouse if you don't want to have a warehouse. And there's going to be some suppliers that say, no, we don't want to work with Amazon sellers. You can change some of their minds, and some you can't. You just move on. It's not no, it's next. That's the mentality you need to adapt. It's not no, it's next. So that you can continue to move forward. You need to just let those things, all that rejection just fall right off you. Get back on the phone, get back onto your computer and start doing more research and start contacting more suppliers. But don't let any of these things stop you, because I remember when I first started, a lot of these things were the reason I took so long to start. They were the reason I went into arbitrage and I couldn't figure it out. They were the reason I went into private label and I lost a lot of fucking money because this is what I thought. I was like, I don't have nearly enough to start Amazon wholesale. So I'm just going to start doing all of these other things. And those things ended up losing me a lot of money that I would have had that I could have just put into my Amazon wholesale business. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below and I'll answer every single one of you guys' questions. If you guys want to work with me directly, first link in the description, one-on-one coaching, mentorship, not group coaching or anything like that. It's literally just me and you working together to build your business and give you a lot of support and guidance throughout your process. And I will see you guys in the next video.